have some more drama to cover, except this one is not ending in an arrest. It's not that serious. So what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about the music artist AViVA. If you do not know who that is, her most famous song is called Girls, which has like 120 some million streams on Spotify. It came out a handful of years ago, and she's in the alt pop genre and seems to be doing very well for herself. And I've been a fan of her for years. I even own one of her albums on vinyl, and I think I found her because of that Girls song, and so I've also subsequently followed her on Instagram. But then earlier this year I noticed that she posted an AI image. AI art is not my thing. I don't really like that they essentially steal from real life artists to then create other art, and then other people will claim it that they did it. Now, I'm not saying that AViVA claimed that she made this piece. She's not doing that. She just used an AI image to make this image, and she also posted another one like this one. People had mixed reactions in the comments. Some people are for it, some people are against it. AI is a hotly debated issue, and it was no difference in the comments. Some people didn't care, some people were like, hey, what's going on? But I'm not gonna lie, I think I saw the AI art for like 1 second, forgot about it, and then didn't think about it again until she came out with a statement a couple days ago, basically addressing the AI art. When I saw this statement, it made me remember, oh yeah, she did post that weird thing a couple months ago. What's going on with that? I checked her account, those posts are still up, and so I read through the statement because I'm like, what's going on here? Because depending on this may or may not mean I'm still a follower or not. I read through the statement, and we will be going through it as well, and it is something. It's something. And I'd also like to preface that this statement is quite long, so buckle up. Let's begin. The pain of art. I woke up this morning to a maelstrom of attacks on my least favorite social media, TikTok. If you know me, and I can assure you, you do not, already a little aggressive, but okay, I digress. If you knew me, you would know that I detest social media. I detest putting things out for others to consume at their leisure with no context. That is why I found the comment KYS so shocking, but not for the reasons one might think. The idea itself is dumb. The 12-year-old on their school bus or in their bedroom punching the letters out, feeling emboldened to make such a disgusting comment to another human, that is laughable and sad. What pain someone who says this to another human must feel. But the shock comes from seeing it. I had never seen anything like that, but I am acutely aware that it happens, and happens to children, who then unfortunately follow through because of whatever pain they feel. So right off the bat, it's clear she has been getting a lot of death threats and hate messages, and I definitely do not condone that, regardless of the AI image issue of supporting it or not. Nobody should be sending somebody death threats, like, ever, under any circumstance. Don't do that. So she definitely has a right to be like, hey, knock it off. I can fully agree with that. However, right off the bat, in the beginning of this statement, she's being A, awfully aggressive, and B, essentially calling people dumb and that they're all kids. Statement's not looking too good right now, but let's continue. Now, say what you like, I am an artist. One conversation with me and you will have no doubt in your mind I am bat crap, crazy, eccentric, cuckoo, off my rocker, mad, and I don't think I could have it any other way. On top of that, I am profoundly reasonable, although perhaps I am too truthful and tend to see things in a somewhat black and white manner. Again, this statement is not addressing the issue. This is a lot of I, okay? I didn't ask how you view yourself, but alright. I have little time for nuisance. I have people around me to help me navigate the nuisance of life. Everyday nuisance, people being nuisances, all the irritating and annoying things. I wish I could not be like that, but I have too much going on in my head to handle it with a modicum of politeness, let alone patience. Alas, again, I digress. First of all, when she says, help me navigate the nuisance of life, wouldn't it make more sense to say nuance? Did she not mean to put nuance there? And she actually said nuisance? But maybe she did mean nuisance. And again, this is a lot of I. So she's finding it annoying, and she's irritated, and she's upset she's being called out. This is not really a statement like addressing the issue, but okay. The point of this was to address the pish-posh surrounding, Jesus Christ. The point of this was to address the pish-posh surrounding artificial intelligence. It's here. It's staying. It's mechanical, digitally mechanical. It's not got heart and soul. It does a thing, a job, and we still travel in cars even though we once used horses and carts. We could already tell the statement was most likely going to be doubling down from the beginning, but that's like that right there. That's the paragraph. She's doubling down. She's not going to stop using AI for art, and she compares it to everybody using cars instead of riding around on horses. I don't really know about that analogy. Defending herself by saying it's here, it's not going anywhere. There are a lot of things that are here and have been here for centuries. That doesn't mean that you need to partake. You can still not use it and also acknowledge that it's here and most likely not going anywhere. I have to say, as a longtime Star Trek lover, this is such a yawn. Things will become mainstream. Human will become the special sauce. Now, I will admit, I'm not familiar with Star Trek. However, I do not understand why she needed to say that she loves Star Trek in this. How does that compare? I don't know. Anyone with half a brain should be able to tell the difference both literally and theoretically from a philosophical perspective. And why are people so invested? Who are they? Why do they care? I am interested in that. But very few people have answers to those questions, and the ones that do are usually the ones out there having discourse. That means discussion, conversation. You know, that thing where people of different opinions behave like adults and use words to trade thoughts and ideas. So old-fashioned. The aggression in what she's saying, I really don't like it, because she could have still doubled down without being like, by the way, all of you are stupid and you're all wrong. And I'm gonna throw out even more insults, and I'm gonna use hyperbole and dumb down things that don't need to be dumbed down, and I'm gonna do all of these things because you are too stupid to understand me otherwise, because I am just that smart. That's the vibe she's currently giving off to me, and I don't like it. The other people, the old world term was keyboard warriors. Do people say that anymore, banging out their vitriol on their smartphones? So she's calling anybody who has said, hey, why are you posting AI art? What's this about? She's calling them keyboard warriors. Now, to give her benefit of the doubt, I'm hoping she's using that term to describe the people who are just actively sending her hate instead of genuine questions or discourse. But from how aggressive she's being, it's hard to tell. Can we take a moment to reflect on the, let's just say, environmental impacts of that first, shall we? First, the rare crystals. This was posted on Instagram, and there are a lot of links in this post that you can't click on because it's Instagram. So that was super annoying to go look up these freaking articles. But honestly, you don't really need to read them because the URLs of the articles essentially tell you what's going on in them for the most part. Like, look at this one. Your mobile phone is powered by precious metals and minerals. I think we know what's going on in that article. It's talking about how phones are powered and that it's done by precious minerals and metals is bad. And what does AViVA have to say about this? Finite resources. Do you know what finite means? It means it doesn't last forever. So should we be upgrading every year? Probably not. But hey, who am I to judge? Now, how do they get these pesky materials? In another article talking about child labor, instead of addressing why she's using AI art, she has now called us all bad people for having a smartphone, and apparently all of us collectively upgrade it every single year, and it's made with finite resources, so we are all terrible people. I need a moment to think about how to respond, because girl, what? It doesn't even need to be said that, yes, child labor is bad, and certainly people don't need a new phone every year, and they probably shouldn't. It'd be better for the environment. But there are a lot of people who do not upgrade their phone every year, including me. I keep my phone until it dies on me, which is usually about 5 years. That's how long my last phone lasted. And this phone I've had for 4 years. It's still going strong. There's nothing wrong with it. I have no desire to replace it, and I don't plan to until it dies on me. Which, if that happens to be past 5 years, then I'm keeping it longer than 5 years. That's not an accurate thing to say that everybody upgrades it every year. And do I also need to say again that child labor is in fact bad, and that shouldn't be a thing? What do you want me to say about that? You're right, that is terrible. What else? What do you want me to do? What else do you want me to do? Well, all around the world, terrible conditions for adults and children who are forced to work in ways that would make these keyboard warriors' fingers start sweating are going on. I want to point out that I haven't provided all sources for this, but as people don't even provide a single source for me when they accuse me of being a fake singer and to end myself, I guess a few sources are better than none. So I guess she's only addressing the haters because she's being accused of fake singing, which I'm not accusing her of that. I am pretty positive she doesn't do that. I don't believe she does that. She only used it to make these AI images, and I just wanted her to have a statement on why she chose to do this AI art, not all of this. This is terrible that she's getting hate. I don't want her to receive death threats. People should stop doing that. But I just want you to address the situation about the AI art. Anyway, let's continue. I'm busy burning the forest, remember? So we have our finite crystals and whatnot, the children and poor adults all enslaved through modern slavery, slavery, which is to say paid a wage that is not a wage by any reasonable standard to get the crystals to make the devices our online friends are using. So this whole defense to me is like, okay, yes, I'm not helping the environment, but neither are you guys. Is that all the statement is saying? Because that's all I'm getting from it. And then she drops a link to another article about how smartphones are affecting climate change. Boop, I did it again. If there's a post for it, there's surely a post against it. That's kind of the point I'm making though, isn't it? Anyway, you're sitting there. No, not you. They are. The keyboard warriors that think I'm an ugly mole and haven't released a good song since Bohemian Rhapsody. Wait, I'm not Freddie Mercury. I'm just thinking about the rare minerals and stuff they put in the green phones. I mean smartphones. Smartphones that are making people pretty dumb, actually. And she drops another article where essentially, again, she's calling everybody dumb because we use our smartphones too much, so now we're all just stupid. And she's not. Not her. Not her, though. She's a genius. So you sit there charging your phone. Coal. Do you spend your evening with no lights on? Do you go to sleep and wake with the sun? I'm sorry, but I'm confused because unless you're completely off-grid, you're using coal. Do you hate the dolphins, you animal? No, we love animals, you human. So now we're all bad people for using electricity. So many digressions, man. I am off and on today. It must be all that AI I ate for breakfast. She needs to knock it off with the jokes. They're not working. So you're sitting in your coal-powered house. The trucks also use gas to bring the materials that built it, unless it's a mud hut. Good for you, mud hutters. You can go now, and you type your letters on the chat and bam, someone made a suggestion. Except it wasn't someone, it was the phone. Maybe you called it autocorrect once, but let's just give her the name she deserves, right? Okay? Artificial intelligence. Spell check, one of her earliest forms, denying the world the right to see the idiots and their misspelt words from showing. Wait, am I one of those misspellers? Yikes. Spell check, come back. I need you. Just don't make suggestions. Wait till I ask to be helped. Wait, that looks wrong. Ask to be helped. Help. So now spell check is AI, and since people use spell check, we're just as bad. This whole statement is, you guys are dumb, stop sending me hate, I don't have time for this, and you're all bad too. And we're only like halfway through it. What the is she even saying in this paragraph? So what side are you on? Site. Wow, aging myself. What app? Who made the app? Was it ethical? Do they eat GMO free? Organic? Are they paying their cleaning lady a fair living wage? She's just going into all of like the nitty gritty bad things that you could possibly do, and then saying everything is bad? Okay. What's the company policy on toilet flushing? Okay, I digress again. But oops, I slipped and must quote an article I read. You should try it. Again, calling us all stupid because apparently we can't read. Currently, TikTok operates only one renewable energy power data center in Norway. I would like to note that that is a hyperlink, and this was posted on Instagram. So what link she's referring to? No idea. What article? Couldn't tell you. The rest rely on conventional energy sources, which include coal and natural gas. This heavy reliance on non-renewable energy underpins TikTok's massive carbon footprint. TikTok does have a massive carbon footprint. She's only talking about the environmental impacts of this. When I saw the AI, it wasn't, oh my god, she's ruining the environment in my head. It was, oh, she's stealing from artists. I wanted to know what she says about that. That was the part that I wanted answers on. I'm not here to talk environmental change because, as she clearly, so wonderfully, so very nicely of her laid out to us, a lot of things out there are causing environmental harm and climate change and everything else. TikTok, our smartphones, cars, all of this. A lot of things out there cause environmental damage. I'm not here to argue that. I'm not an environmentalist. I don't have the answers. I just wanted her to address using AI for artistic purposes. That's it. That's all I wanted to know. And she has yet to address that. All she is saying is that we're all collectively terrible people because we do these things and participate in these norms. I don't know. Okay, so now that's out in the open, kind of, all that carbon is making it hard for me to breathe over here. Putting jokes in a statement is not the move in general. Like, girl, what are you doing? We're able to move into the next realm. Art. Finally, after like 5 slides in, she is now finally addressing the art. You know nothing about me. My life, my story, my process, my body. As it should be. We're not friends. Again, this is a lot of me, me, me. Okay, I just wanted you to make a statement about using other people's art for your AI posts. That's like it. Girl, what the I merely share the most inner part of me, my soul, as is what is bared by an artist, which is what a lot of the hot-to-trot issues people have is about. I write my thoughts in a way that is usually not literal or fractured at best. It is paired with most produced by other people, using it as a medium to process their own thoughts, and it comes to your ear holes. Voila! Except that is not it. I have been singing for my entire life, but I started training my voice at 15. I trained classically for 5 years before deciding the cutthroat world of opera was not for me. I would try the magical land of pop music. Slipped and landed on my feet in alt-pop rock land. I love it here. The fans are great. My fans are great. The best good people. So again, more I, me. Talking about how she trained her voice and all of this. I guess to defend herself from people saying she's a fake singer. And then the my fans are great. The best people is basically saying she's only accepting fans who did not ask a question about the AI art or have discourse about it. Only fans that are following her without question. I think because, like, what is she trying to accomplish by saying this? Whatever. But I can only reach them through this thing called the internet, which means I am out there for everyone and anyone, but that is okay. I'm tough. Real tough. So tough I scare grown men. I can't tell if that's supposed to be like another joke or she said that earnestly. Because if she said that earnestly, that's kind of cringe. I mean, kudos to you if you do scare grown men, but like people who do scare other grown men don't have to say it. But I do that in real life, in person. I am so tough that people choose Matais, Matais, over me. They go to him because I'm too scary to take on. Like the biggest eye roll. I've been pretty patient so far. I've been pretty quiet, letting the comments roll in. I can kind of just let the attacks on me slide. I am a busy woman after all. She's too busy to address this, really. We should be honored that she took the time to write out this whole essay about things we didn't even want her to address to begin with. She definitely could have left in a paragraph about, hey, don't send me death threats because people should not be doing that. So I totally get that. But then the whole other tangent about all the other things in this world that affect climate change and how we are all apparently stupid and bad people, probably could have left that out. But alright. But the attacks on my fans, that is enough. People aren't friendly. They aren't kind. Say what you want. You are entitled to your own opinion, and we all are. I really truly believe that. But if you're just being a shithead because you're weak, ignorant, or something else, you're just a gutless wonder. Gutless wonder? What the does that mean? Do you think no one sees this stuff? Do you hope I will? Did you want me to cry? As you can see above, I'm afraid your hypocrisy is making it hard for me to take you seriously. Also, how do you have so much free time? Get a life. So she's too busy for us, but everybody else who left a comment needs to get a life because they clearly have too much time on their hands. Maybe one outside of your phone screen. Go stare at the sun or something. Touch grass. So now to the final point. Oh, so like the actual point, because reading this whole statement, I never even left a negative comment on any of this. I just wanted to see what she would say. Would she come back and be like, hey, I actually didn't realize that this is stealing from other artists. I'm not down with this. I'm so sorry. Would she stick with it and justify it in some way? Would she just double down? Like what would she do? And this whole over half of this just felt like she was calling me an idiot and that I'm personally killing the environment as well, I guess. When I never was one of the keyboard warriors she talked about that needs to get a life and touch grass. So I'm sure if she ever makes a follow-up, it'll be like, well, I didn't mean like you guys who were respectful about stuff, which I'm sure she won't make another statement. But if she did, she'd probably say that to like cover herself about this beginning part. But she's just being really mean for no reason. I just wanted to hear her stance on the AI art. And over half of this, she's just been mean to me. Quit being mean. AI is a tool. It is a digital tool, like spell check or phone photo touch-ups. It has broader ethical implications, but so also did the camera when it first came out. I think to claim someone else's work as your own and make a profit off that is objectively wrong, but no one with a reasonable brain could say that, and no one who is remotely innovative would try. So her defense is, yes, it is wrong to steal creative works from artists. However, what I'm doing, it's not stealing from original things anyway, so it's fine, which is a really weird way to think about it. Let's see what else she says. We live in a world where nothing is truly original. Humans are too similar, follow too many of the same patterns, and have been around too long for that to be the case. So her defense is, well, nothing is original, so therefore I can take what I want. Okay? I'm not saying AI doesn't have issues. I'm saying just because there are issues there does not mean one should not use it appropriately for whatever needs they have that it can fill. But I'm also not going to use it when I think it will do a job for me that no one else can do. To the people saying pay a struggling artist, you are a fool. And I would dare to assume a child who doesn't understand the real world yet. That is okay. I forgive your ignorance. And to those who say my music is AI, LOL. I forgive your ignorance. So she has already accepted our non-existent apology. How kind of her. And apparently it's foolish to pay a struggling artist. I don't really understand that logic at all. I feel like these other points, even though I disagree with pretty much everything she's saying, I at least can see her thought processes about how she came to that conclusion, even though I don't agree with it. But saying it's foolish to pay a struggling artist, I don't understand that at all. Why? If you have the money to hire an artist, why wouldn't you do it? Like, why not? What's wrong with that? But her defense is not really acknowledging that AI uses other people's art. She's just saying nothing is original, so even if it is taking from somebody's art, it wasn't original anyway, so therefore it doesn't matter. Which is really weird coming from a music artist, because it's not to say like, oh, she created alt-pop music or something, but you would think she would be prideful in her songs to claim at least some form of originality with them. And oh, did that sound like the end of the statement? Well, it's not, because there's even more. She wrote an entire essay. I can't change your mind. The facts stand as they are. My music is not AI generated. Apart from the truth being the truth, it's also impossible for it to be so on the timeline of technological development, to my knowledge. But I have learned at this point in my life there is no point in arguing with chimps. Again, she's calling everybody stupid. However, her music being AI generated was never something I was concerned about. Don't think it is. That's all I can say on that. I wrote this more for me than for you anyway. Clearly, girl. This felt like this should have stayed in your diary a little bit. I just got so sick of sitting there, and the self-death threats really threw me over the edge, figuratively. I just cannot abide by that. Having seen so much death by that means, it is disgusting and shocking that people, actual people, say things like that to another human. Like, what the heck? I know it happens to artists all the time, and I cannot figure it out. But it happens to children and vulnerable adults, and that is a travesty because people follow through. They believe the hate, and that is inexcusable. If you're comfortable messaging or commenting something to someone online, maybe imagine if you'd have the same kahunas saying it to their face. And if that has ever happened to you, and you're reading this right now, do not ever, ever, ever go down a spiral of validating that human trash and the muck that fell off their fingertips. You do not need to do anything that hurts you, ever. Find a real person, someone with a heartbeat, talk to them, anyone. You're going to be okay. She seems to fall back on that everything she's doing is okay because people are being mean to her, so she's being mean back. Now, I agree, her receiving death threats is unacceptable, and the people who did that should absolutely be ashamed of themselves. You should not do that to anyone. But she briefly talked about the AI issue and then almost is using the attacks on her as justification for this statement and her use of AI, of like, everybody's being so mean to me when I really didn't even do anything that wrong in the scheme of things, because we're all actually so bad for the environment. That's terrible that you are receiving those messages, but there is still an issue here. We're almost done, I promise. I'm sorry. And I could say that because although once that would have cut me to the bone, it really rankled me in a way that had me doubting my art and to the point of everything I did. Now I get my giggles from reading this pathetic slop. Sometimes I wish I had more time to reply to them all. I can get pretty scathing, but boring. I'm too busy out here making all the art I can with the time I have on this beautiful planet, with all the tools at my disposal. Alas, I'm a busy woman. I've got a lot of AI to eat. So that last paragraph is, again, she's so busy. She is so busy. She's justifying her AI art usage by saying she's so busy she doesn't have time to hire artists that would essentially do the job for her because they would be the ones hired to make the art. But she doesn't have time to do that. She'll just make the art herself with AI. She closes off this post with the caption of, "Kiss my shiny metal ass." Honestly, it would have been better if she simply never addressed this at all because this statement is so god awful. I truly was blown away when I read this. There were times where I had to stop and reread parts because I was like, no way she's saying this, because it was just so aggressive. I get defending yourself from the death threats. Absolutely. Nobody should be sending those. But going on to just say everybody who disagrees is an idiot and doesn't know how to read and is also killing the environment and all of these other bad things. Like, she's trying to justify it by saying, well, you all are bad too. We're both bad. So it's fine that I'm doing this bad thing because you're bad too. Or the other super solid defense of, I'm too busy to hire a struggling artist, and hiring struggling artists is stupid and foolish anyway because I'm just so busy, so I'm just gonna make it myself with AI because I'm too busy for anything else. Now, when this was first posted, I checked the comments and there was a good discourse of people who were still on her side and for her using AI, and other people who left comments being like, hey, but this is the reason why a lot of people are against AI, kind of just trying to strike up that discourse, maybe engage in a conversation, maybe change your mind if that's what they were going for, I don't know. But when I went to go back and take screenshots of certain comments that I felt were noteworthy, they were gone. She was deleting comments, and I think she still is. But here are some comments that I did find. So this comment was left on her statement, and this is someone who is against AI. Let's see what they say. I've been a fan of yours since 2018. Getting hate comments is never fun, and not the way to go when you dislike what someone is doing, but promoting AI art hurts artists. AI steal art by real artists, and the only way to get around that is by making and training your own. But even then, it still promotes the use of AI, which fans will then use more because they see you, their idol, using it. Except they will be using ones trained off stolen art from artists. AI hasn't started to take over music yet, so it isn't affecting your career, but it is affecting digital artists. Since you're an artist, I think you'd be able to understand why you should stand with other artists who are losing revenue because of AI. If you are using your own trained bots, then stating that in the caption of any post with AI will let your fans know that you aren't contributing to art theft and the job losses artists are facing right now. AViVA replies to this person, in fact, you're wrong. Spotify uses my songs to train AI music. So sorry to everyone who thinks it's only the art community. Dang, I can't believe Spotify is doing that too. That's very unfortunate, but I still hold to my point of when posting AI, letting fans know that you're using your own bot or something similar so they don't feel encouraged to use AIs harming artists. Which I really like the point that commenter makes, that you are actively hurting artists. They are trained off of stolen artwork, and when it's readily available or they see someone they look up to actively using it, other people are more likely to use the AI, and real artists are no longer getting hired, or they're getting fired. Artists are struggling. Now, those sorts of artists aren't the only people struggling, because it's eventually going to reach out to other people. And AViVA even says that Spotify is using her songs to train AI bots as well. I don't know if that's true. However, I'm inclined to believe it, because why wouldn't Spotify be doing that? Honestly, why wouldn't they? But the follow-up comment to AViVA, I really like their response because their point still holds true. That is terrible that Spotify is doing that with their songs, and it shouldn't be happening. However, that doesn't mean that you get to decide how other artists feel about it. Just because AViVA seems to be okay that Spotify is doing that with her music, that doesn't mean she gets to decide for every other artist that, like, well, I'm fine that Spotify is doing that to me, so you should be fine that this AI is stealing your art because it's fine when they do it to mine. You can't really make those decisions for other artists. That's not really how that works. But like I said, there was discourse, so there were some people who were still for AI even after this statement, like this. I love AI. Every person on earth uses it to some degree, which I think, again, is a very weird way to justify it. Everybody on earth uses AI. Okay, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that argument doesn't make sense. And there is still a mix of both. Keep doing you, it has never failed to amaze, and then deleting comments doesn't make you right. Being rude is not right. The interesting part about this is that, being rude is not right. She's right about that, because I'm sure in those comments there were some people who were saying some nasty things, and her deleting those are not what I have a problem with. The part that I want to speak on is when I first saw the statement and I went into the comments, there were comments that I had originally wanted to screenshot that were similar to the first person's comments, where it was pretty long and it was about AI being like, hey, I'm against this, I don't like that you're doing this, here's why, blah blah blah. But for whatever reason, I didn't screenshot it when she posted this statement. I regret doing that. I don't know why I did that, but I didn't screenshot them. And so when I went back, I was like, I want to find those comments, and I couldn't find them. So she wasn't just deleting the rude ones. She was deleting ones that had probably good points that she didn't like were in there. And there were also some comments on those AI images themselves. There weren't that many that were worth screenshotting, but I did find this one that I wanted to point out. Apparently, everyone who is commenting about AI have their eyes wide shut to the fact that AI AI is just another art form, and any artist is more than allowed to do whatever they want and doesn't owe any of us anything. It just breaks my heart that people are attacking AViVA over something so stupid. Like, get over it, please. I think it's cool how accurate it looks. Just saying. I found that so very interesting because technically they're right. Any artist is free to do whatever they want, and that's true. AViVA is free to continue to use AI. However, everybody is free to do whatever they want. There are just consequences to certain decisions and actions, and if she wants to keep using AI, that's fine. She can. However, she needs to be aware that that might alienate and remove fans from being her fans anymore because they don't agree with that. And if she's fine with losing those fans, then I guess it's fine because you're right. You're free to do whatever you want, but you're not free from the consequences of those decisions. Also, the part that AI is just another form of art is bonkers to me. I can't imagine if there was me and one other person and we unveiled whatever art that we made and we're both showing it off, and I'm standing next to someone who says, yep, I worked on this digital piece for 50 hours straight. I did this, I did that. It took a lot of technique, a lot of skill to get the final product, which is beautiful. Whatever you're imagining, I'm sure it's beautiful. And then there's me that has something comparable next to them, and I say, I spent an hour in an AI generator typing in different prompts until it showed me what I wanted to see. If I was standing next to someone who had worked 50 hours and mine with that, I would be so embarrassed because they are not the same thing remotely at all. And to say that it's just another art form is disgusting. And on one of those AI images, AViVA left this comment herself saying, if you hate AI, either watch Psycho Killer or do everyone a favor and turn your phone off. So not just in the statement, in comments, she's doubling down. She's deleting comments. She's basically saying, hey, you're stupid, go touch grass, turn off your phone because AI is here to stay and I'm gonna use it. And even people who left constructive comments, more so on talking about how AI steals from artists and more on that factual side rather than anything mean or like a hate comment. It's not like that. It's more discourse related. She'll respond saying, well, Spotify is feeding my songs into AI too, so it's fine. If you're okay with that happening to your music, that is your decision because it's your music. However, that doesn't mean you can then decide for everybody else, every other artist, that, well, AI is fine because I'm okay with it happening with my music. So you just gotta adapt and overcome. Wild thing to say and very disappointing because, like I said at the beginning of this, I've been a fan of her for years. For years. I've been a fan of her, listening to her music. And a while after I read this statement and I was just listening to my Spotify, it was on shuffle, one of her songs came on and I skipped it basically right away. And it wasn't for, oh, I wasn't in the mood for that song. It was just because it now left a bad taste in my mouth from how poorly written this statement was. She would have been better off not saying anything. Calling your fans stupid is not the right route to take at pretty much any time ever. So why she thought that was a great idea to do, I will never know. It's really disappointing. I liked her music for years and now I don't feel as though I can support her anymore. And that saddens me. And I'm not coming on here to say, oh, I'm a saint. I do not support AI art, which I want to make it clear I don't. But how she went about this statement is just so gross. I don't want to be a part of her fan base anymore, and that sucks. But that is where the situation currently stands. She's a smaller artist, so I don't know if you've heard about this happening. Her statement, I don't want to call it an apology because it's clearly not an apology. Her statement is so insane to me. That is the only reason I made this video about it, because it's so unbelievably bad. It just saddens me, but that's the story.